I made this post on Threads and it went viral. It got close to 12,000 interactions, and a lot of people were in agreement. A lot of people felt my pain on it. Here's the post. Unpopular opinion: posting a job without a salary should be illegal. My take on it is, if you know the responsibilities, you know the job, you know the budget, so why exactly are companies, recruiters, hiring managers, why are they hiding it in the job description? If you put out everything else, why can't you just put out the salary? Because here's the reality: salary is the first thing most people look at after the job title, right? I want to know what job it is, of course, so I can click on it. I want to know what responsibilities and skills you're looking for so I can see if I'm a match. But beyond that, I also want to see, how much is the job paying? Is it worth my time, right? People who make a certain amount of money don't want to make 40, 50, 60% less. So it's really important way for them to contextualize the opportunity, right? And that's why having the salary there is important. But of course, some companies want to treat it like it's a secret, right? As if that's not what the person is going to earn every 2 weeks or every month or whatever the payment schedule is, right? So it's super important to have it there. The other thing that grinds people's gears is that you drag people through an interview, and after a lot of rounds, then you want to share a ridiculous salary, which is essentially not showing the candidate respect and just completely wasting their time. So shout out to companies that are very upfront with it, confirm it, and make sure that everybody's aligned before even moving candidates forward. And even my unpopular opinion is not so unpopular, right? About 13 states in the US have some form of salary transparency laws, including places like California, Colorado, Connecticut, and I think more states should mandate it, right? It's crazy that it's not the norm everywhere. It should be illegal to not have it. It's as simple as that. So here were some comments on my post that I thought was really interesting. So this person said, yes, I made a post about it on LinkedIn and got a lot of backlash. See, this is why LinkedIn has never been in the allegations. I'm joking. I'm joking. This person says a real salary range that they will actually pay. I'm tired of seeing jobs that say like 45,000 to 71,000, and the people who were there for 10 years working that job are making $57,000 a year. Like, it would never get to 71,000 a year. They're just making up fake top range. I agree. Don't make up the fake top range. And this has really happened to me before, and I was so mad. Like, if you say the maximum you're gonna pay the candidate is 250,000, don't come back and say, oh, but the max we're targeting is 160. If the max is 160, put it on the job description. This person had the most relatable one, right? It says, but how are companies supposed to lowball candidates to try to save some money if they post the salary range? And that's the truth. That's what everybody knows, right? They want to rope you into the process. They want to get you excited and then hit you with at that point where they feel like mentally you're already committed to the role. And that's exactly why it's such a dirty practice. This is another real comment. This person says, exactly. If you need 7 interviews to reveal $47,000 a year, it's not a job, it's a trap. Well said, well said. And the last comment is, like, you're telling me everything you want me to do, but not how much I'm gonna get paid doing it. Then the nerve of the requirements, illegal. Yeah, the nerve. That's exactly the right word and reaction. Aside from hiding the salary in the job descriptions, here are some other things that grind my gears. One, ghosting candidates after interviews. If somebody's spending, a minimum of 30 minutes, sometimes over multiple rounds, if you're not gonna select them, at the very minimum, tell them that you're not selecting them. Let them have closure and move on to other roles and opportunities. Another one is jargons in the job descriptions. They don't mean anything. Why are we even putting it there? Nobody wants to see rock star, fast-paced environment, we're like family. Take all of that away. It's 2025. Nobody wants to see that. Another one is asking for 5 years of experience for an entry level job. If you want someone who's entry level, be prepared to teach them. And if you want somebody who has 5 years of experience, pay them. You can't want somebody who has a lot of experience, but not also want to pay them what's fair. So, do you want someone who's entry level, or do you want somebody who already has a little bit of experience? Make up your mind, guys. Make up your minds. And 7 interview rounds for junior positions. Like, I'm not trying to be a CEO. Like, there's no reason why like a you know a software engineering role should be 7 rounds. If you guys can make up your mind in 3 to 4 rounds of interviews, potentially a panel in there, right? Maybe you guys are not really sure about what it is that you are hiring for. You know, of course, frustrated job seeker. I'm speaking on behalf of everybody. Um, and expecting a ton of free work. See, I do get it, right? Sometimes companies need people to prove that they can do the job, that it's prove that they have the skills, and that's fine. What's not fine is creating multi-step, multi-hour processes that somebody has to take home, right? The job search process is already a huge grind. In 2025, people are having to send 500,000 job applications, tailor them, write resumes, write cover letters, right? They want to get to that process quickly. And anything you can do to help candidates along, whether you even say yes to them or no, that's really helpful. Don't waste their time, please. And this is one that I know that it's probably not going to change, but I really wish that it would. It's not giving feedback after rejection. People pour a lot of themselves into these interview processes, and just, the vague, after careful consideration, we have decided not to move forward. We found better candidates. It doesn't really help, right? Was it something about their response? Was it that they didn't fill you with confidence? Was it, maybe the technical aspect of the interview? I do understand that companies want to protect themselves, right, from lawsuits, and that's why they give the generic response. But there have been times where I've gotten like very specific feedback. There was one time I was applying for a product position where they really needed someone who was very strong on SQL. I did have some SQL query experience, but not at a deep level that they were looking for. And they did get back to me and let me know, hey, we loved you, but it was your SQL querying abilities when we did the live coding test that was a problem. And I did appreciate that, right? Because I knew that, but it was good to get that validation that the problem was actually the problem. So be great if companies do it, but I'm not holding my breath. And the last one, last but not least, is overemphasizing culture fit as a vague filter. If you have a culture, you should be very transparent with it, right? Companies like Netflix, Amazon, um, they all have cultural memos that you can go read online. And even they encourage you to put it in their interview process, right? To answer your questions that way because they want to see how you are within their culture. If you're providing that level of guidance, that's great, right? You can quote culture. But if all it is you don't even set what that cultural expectation is, and all of a sudden you expect candidates to know and be able to fit into that in an interview, you're just setting up people for failure. And why are you doing that? Why? If you're enjoying this content, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Also, I have a free newsletter. I'm going to leave a link below that helps you and gives you the insight to break into a high-paying career in tech. I share tips, interviews, all of the things that you need to start a successful tech career once a week, every Thursday. If that sounds great, check out the links in the description for where to find my newsletter.